So, minor disclaimer. I was thinking about making this video for a little bit, and I'm gonna do my best because these people are my friends. Do not harass them. It's a precautionary tale of not to mix D&D and pleasure. Okay? And I'm not here to make anyone look like an asshole. Considering these people are my friends, I do not want them to be looked into with a negative light. This is kind of like one of those things where it's just like, it happened, and I kind of feel bad that it happened, but I want to talk about it because I don't want it happening to other people. I have my pumpkin spice latte. Dunkin', no offense, but the store that I went to, it tastes like soap. So I might have to go local on this one because our local coffee shop does a pumpkin spice latte a little bit better. No offense. So, now that I have my adequate amount of caffeine, let's get started, shall we? So, when I play D&D, I got into this group, I want to say almost a year ago, because I had complications with the D&D group because, lo and behold, one of their players was a dick. I didn't want to play Raylana anymore because Raylana, I don't know what was it that they just didn't like about Raylana. Half of the group loved Raylana, while half of the group kind of just said, "Oh, she writes porn? Ew." But understand that Raylana is not going to be like, "Oh my god, I write porn," and like shove it in people's faces. She uses that as an outlet of her trauma because it's an escape. Her escapism is writing smut. So, to best explain my character before we go into D&D world of what the fuck just happened, my character Raylana is my beloved bard who every campaign she would go into, either she gets killed off because the DM is a dick. Hi Nick, if you ever watch my videos again, I still don't like you. Or the campaign is in a hiatus. I have to keep explaining this because it stinks, and it used to be called the Raylana Curse. Now, the Raylana Curse, the very interesting bit of the Raylana Curse, is when Raylana would be entered into the campaign, I would tell them the premise that Raylana's escapism was basically she would write these smut books. She wasn't, like, in your face about it or anything, but as a joke character NPC, she would sell them on the fly and be like, "Oh, you want a book? If you can buy this book off of me for like a couple of, silver, and if you buy the book off of her, you didn't realize you just bought smut." Obviously, unless you were like sex repulsed, I would not, you would know. Everyone knows Raylana in my group. With the one group basically being like meh, and when I switched characters, I was invited to another group to play as Raylana. Mainly because my buddies were like, "Dude, we have to play with Delaney. She seems really fun to play with." And I have not had any qualms with this group until now. The only qualm I have is with one person. Nothing against this person, but it really irks me because it's not even in the game. My problem started, I want to say 3 months ago. We had an encounter where Raylana was the big bad. Her situation was when she was the big bad, her corrupted form came out, and she was literally kicking ass and taking names. However, at this time, I got mansplained a lot by this person. Basically, I have never encountered one of the spells known as Synaptic Static, and I was allowed to boost Raylana up from a normal player level, we were at like level 9, to now she's a CR level 15-16 creature with additional abilities added on because she is now in her corrupted form, and she is going to kick ass, take names, and look, she's all out of bubblegum, so she's gonna rip you a new one. And what's scary is she was wiping the floor with most of the players. What you don't know is that lore bards have access to every single spell in the player handbook and any other book available to them. It is scary. Understand that Raylana, as a simple bard, could have access to Fireball. Fireball, a big boomy spell. She also has access to druidic spells, and the druidic spells are very big AoE spells, and considering bards already have big AoE spells, oh man, you in for a treat. The story behind Raylana getting druidic spells is her cousin is a druid. There's some underlying lore to why she would get druid spells. She would borrow from her cousin. She'd be like, "Oh, cousin, hey, how you doing? I need to borrow a really powerful spell, and you need to teach me that very powerful spell. Why am I using this very powerful spell? Understand, it is for the sake of our community." So, to continue, and that still tastes like soap, I was explaining that some of these spells would also be a combination of a few spells she would learn along the way. Raylana has journeyed with various different adventurers along her time, and she would understand that, she has access to every spell in the book when it comes to 5th E. So, it's interesting, to say the least. Considering lore bards are very, very powerful. They are one of the most powerful spell casters, or half casters. I think they're either half or tri-casters, one of the two. And they got the big booms. A lot of big booms. During this encounter, though, I was getting mansplained. A lot. What bothered me around the mansplaining is the mansplaining got a little too hard. And by too hard, I mean a lot hard, because when it got a lot hard, one of the things that bothered me was I went to go do an action, and one of the players, I will call him Warlock, went, and every time I would turn around, I'm like, "What do you mean, And he's just like, "Well, you can't do that." And I'm like, she has legendary actions. This creature that we designed, me and our DM, designed this thing with legendary actions. So, we're not trying to push the mold here. She's got legendary actions. But this is not one of the first things that started to annoy me with this guy, because outside of the game is where he really started to push me. So once the encounter was over, I was really disappointed in the encounter. Mainly because it just fell on flat ears, the memo of the encounter. The memo of the encounter made it seem like Raylana was utterly frustrated with life. Basically, like, all the things that she felt useless. She felt trapped. It's a bunch of different messages, and when in her corrupted form, she finally got to let loose and take out what she could finally relent out. A great example is within the campaign. The sorcerer slept with the warlock, even though the sorcerer is with our cleric. And the cleric made it clear, she can sleep with whatever woman she wants, but I'm the only man in her life. Raylana was frustrated because as a polyamorous woman, she's just like, "Look, I keep it up front with my partners who I sleep with. You are going to have to let him know, sooner or later, what happened." But she wasn't going to step on any toes just yet because, even though she was conflicted about it, that's not her say. That's her love life. That's her friend's love life. She doesn't want to step on her friend's toes. On the other hand, she has her other lover, being our brawler. The brawler is very conflicted about love. He doesn't know anything about love. And he doesn't know if he wants to even stay in the world where they are. And for a brief moment, Raylana wanted to just go home. Raylana literally asked the supreme god of death if she just could go home. If there could be a way she could go home. And since she couldn't go home, she just felt trapped. Because considering she had this corruption inside her, she just felt bad. And what made it worse is the corruption inside her was caused by wanting to help someone. And she was just tired. After the encounter was said and done, luckily I was just tired, our DM was tired, everybody was just tired. And it was to the point where all of us were just done. The next session comes around the next week, and apparently our warlock has a second, third personality. He has multiple personality syndrome. I could be saying that wrong. I don't know the official term for multiple personality syndrome. I think it's something borderline personality syndrome, I think. And don't quote me. Though I have a psychology degree, I cannot make diagnoses, and it's really weird because when the warlock just shut his brain off and went emotionless, just nope. It was just really weird. But behind the scenes, everyone was basically asking, like, what the fuck, why did this happen, what is going on, yada yada. And the simple answer was, apparently the warlock also wants to scream at the brawler, things are going on, and I'm just sitting there in the corner like, what? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Another week goes by, and things get even weirder. And then I get a message from my friend the brawler. My friend the brawler messages me and goes, hey, so Warlock has a crush on you. And then there's me going, huh? Now, for interesting context, I would have had no idea considering the way he treated me multiple times, because if you like a woman, that is not how you treat a woman. And because of other things he has said in front of me multiple times, has made fun of my Michigander accent, by the way. And it just felt off, because I'm like, I would have never known that. Ever. I don't know if it's just because I'm dense, because, listen, this is not grade school anymore. You do not have to pick on someone that you like. But being belligerent and rude during an encounter that we planned for weeks and we're hoping it was going to be a really cool encounter was awful. Did not like that. And then, also, the thing that comes up next was not cool too. So nothing like hanging out in a call with Warlock and Sorcerer, and we're all having a nice chat, and Warlock just, oh, Jesus McFrickin' Christ. It starts like this. We're having a cool talk. We're enjoying life. And Warlock just flat out says, okay, I have a crush on both of you. And I'm like, yeah, man, what? Now, I could have totally understood how he felt about Sorcerer, because Sorcerer, like, he made it a little clear that he had feelings for Sorcerer, but he made it clear that he only liked Sorcerer for Sorcerer's looks. And this is where things get even more interesting, because he mentioned that he liked Sorcerer for Sorcerer's looks. However, Warlock also mentioned a bunch of us in between this conversation were not up to his state's standards of beauty. Now, I'm not salty about the statement that apparently I'm a 4 out of 10. I'm more salty that he said this after he told my friend that, well, I really like her, she's caring, she's sweet, she's such a lovely person. But then you outright in front of everybody, God, life, nature, we're not up to your standards. None of us are. And it makes us feel like shit. Mainly me, because understand every time we go into a D&D game now, because now that I'm dating someone else, hi, if he's watching this video, hi. It's kind of weird, because every time I hear the, well, I wish I had a girlfriend. You fumbled that ball harder than a New England Patriot. You should be paid for it. Because you not only said none of us were up to your California standards, you don't have them. Your state is full of drug dealers. I'm sorry. You make fun of my accent. Oh, hey, Dere Bud. Hi, Dere. Oh, Dere. Hey. Listen. I come from the great old standard of state of Michigan. Most of us up north, whether it be Michigan, Wisconsin, sometimes Illinois, Minnesota, we all kind of, sound like that. If you ever seen the TikTok lady, that Minnesota mom, you will understand that Midwestern accent. But there is also a little different derivatives of the different accents. Because Michigan, we're a little more closer to Canada. Because whether via the Upper Peninsula, because the Upper Peninsula literally connects to Canada, or via Detroit, because Detroit hilariously actually connects to Canada. Did you know? So we have a little more Canadian than you think. We have more Canadians going into our state than Florida. In Florida, they have vacation down there. So that is a fun fact for you for today. Dere Bud. Any more accent jokes there, Bud? Sorry. My angry Michigander comes out when... like, the whole time during the last game we played in D&D, he would fucking make fun of my accent where he's like, hey there, oh there, bud, and I'm just over there like, California standards, we don't have them, bimbos filled with silicone. Like, I would just fucking go off, man. But what bothers me on top of that is just, like, understand when somebody keeps saying, oh, I wish I had a girlfriend. You're the reason you don't have a girlfriend. You don't know how to speak to a woman. I'm sorry, if I went up to the guy that I was currently dating and said, you know, I wish I had a boyfriend, and then I treated him like shit, did you expect me to get that boyfriend? No! Because that's not how you treat a McFucking human. Because the fact... Oh my god, my fucking Michigander accent's coming out again. Because every fucking time, alright, when I explain to people, when you talk to a person, whether it be man, woman, non-binary, trans, I don't care. You need to treat somebody with the utmost respect, or the way you wish to be treated, whichever way. As long as it's with respect and dignity. And what bothers me, Dere Bud, is when we literally all got called ugly. Except for our DM. Yeah, apparently he would do unholy and unspeakable things to our DM. Sorry, you had to learn this way, Dere Bud. And he literally was just like, oh, you guys are like below my standards. You're like he literally called me a 4. He called our brawler a 5. Which, I'm sorry, our brawler... I'm a spoken for woman. And I'm just saying this out of respect for my friend, because, listen, I like to amp up my friends. I personally think he was at least a 7 or an 8. Sorry, 9 and 10 are for, like, celebrities. I would consider my friend an 8, because I like to amp up my friends. I like to rev them up. I like to give them the good chutzpah. I like to make sure that they have a great self-esteem. I'm sorry, Dere Bud. I have never seen you there on camera, eh, bud? And you're over there like, oh, well, my standards. What standards? Your standards is anything that has boobs. And yes, now I'm gonna be talking with an accent. I'm gonna be talking with a Michigander accent. Ah! Now I'm gonna sound like a Canadian goose. Thanks, Dere Bud. What bothers me, like, it just sets me off. And this is a fully unscripted video for that reason. And I could be sitting there, okay? Any D&D. This has been the D&Ds for the past 3 months that this has been happening. Oh, I don't have a girlfriend. I could never get a girlfriend, but I need to work on myself because... What fucking standards? One, that you have. Because from what I've noticed and from what you've sent our group chat, your standards is anything that has boobs, a butt, and a face. That is your standards. Second of all, your standards aren't very high. And when you openly admit to us that, hi, I like you for your personality, but you're ugly. And then you go to my other friend and go, hey there, I really like you, but I only like you for your looks, not really your personality. Which is basically the equivalent of saying, hi, I like you, but you're boring. When that is one of the most colorful people we know. This has been on my mind for months, because what bothers me is we can't speak about it because what if it hurts our D&D? I gave up thinking about that. Why? Call me ugly all you want. I don't care. Because that's not where my value is. But I'm here to roast your ass, considering the fact. Oh yeah, you make fun of my accent. The other thing he doesn't want to be associated with is my ex. He doesn't want to be associated because they have the same name. I'm not mentioning which ex because that'd make this video very awkward. He doesn't want to be associated because I would tell stories about a certain D&D, which that ex knows. He knows because I tell him. Because we're still friends. I'm still friends with that ex. And that's why I tell stories, because he's in my D&D and I tell stories because his character does funny things. It just so happens they have a similar name and he'll go, "Oh, I don't want my name associated with your ex." Me. There's no negative connotation with ex unless your ex did something bad. This ex did nothing to me. He is one of my besties. He's a teddy bear. Sorry if you hear this in the end of the video, Dere Bud. And I don't know why people get so jaded when it comes to the fact that apparently you're not supposed to be friends with your exes. I'm friends with one of my exes. Maybe two. I'm not really contacting the other one. Kind of just letting him exist. We're not, like, mad at each other. Just life happens. But if you're so jaded that you don't want to be associated with the name of my ex, that you're so jealous that he's my ex, let alone that you can't get a girlfriend there, bud. I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? I'm sorry. I am going borderline Canadian. I'm sorry to all the Canadians out there if you watch my videos. Mainly because I am from Michigan, but I'm my accent will slip out when I'm at work. Especially when my boss goes, "Hey Delaney, say Minnesota." And here's me, Minnesota. But I think I've rambled enough about this Dere Bud. He's still my friend, but he really needs to learn a lesson and get knocked down a peg. So understand. Oh, I shouldn't say peg. But he needs to be knocked down a few steps. Because, yeah, it kind of bothers me. Because the exact wording he had for me, and this is why I made a certain vent image not too long ago, is one of my favorite images is not conventionally attractive. I wouldn't consider myself conventionally attracted, but is anyone conventionally attractive? That is a psychological thing for you to think of today. Is anyone conventionally attractive? We have conventional standards of beauty, but understand that that was after years and years of Western standards and Eastern standards and different trades and yada yada. But I'm not here to try to explain different people's different standards and self-esteem and yada yada. Because I know I'm not the most attractive person. But do understand that learn to talk to a woman before, learn to talk to a woman before you even think about dating a woman. That's just my life advice for this video, is think before you speak. And also, one of the weirder things from this whole situation is apparently my official diagnosis, because I like mushrooms, is apparently I'm autistic. Understand that I have a lot of other hyperfixations in this guy, because he said he's autistic. I apparently show traits of being autistic for liking mushrooms. I don't know anything about mushrooms. That is not my ultra hyperfixation, but I could totally tell you what a moth is, what gemstones are, what certain spices pair with what. Simple stuff. So, yeah, I think that's enough video for today. Have a good day, everybody. I gotta think of what the hell I'm gonna draw for the speed paint of this video. I think I know exactly what I'm gonna draw, because someone has been hilariously listening to me ramble about a lot of this. So I'm gonna have to draw him just sitting there listening to me just
talk about that shit.
So have a good day, everybody. And, take a lesson from me. If you're gonna try and date a woman, do not call her ugly. Peace.